Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This is Bill, and I'm coming to you again live from the Biblical Lifestyle Center in Texarkana, USA. This is our Torah study time. It is the Sabbath day, the one the Creator blessed and made holy, the one we're called to remember all the days of our life, to commemorate, to relive every seventh day. We come together to set ourselves apart from the trials and tribulations, the struggles, the aggravations and irritations and compromising, conflicting loyalties of the 6 days, and come together one to each other, but most of all unto the Creator of the universe Himself, returning to the garden, returning to our Creator to be breathed into the way Adam was breathed into in Genesis 2:7, to have the breath of the Creator Himself, the creative life force, breathed into us afresh for the healing power, for the restoring power, for the energizing, empowering, and inspiring power and blessing of the Creator upon His creation. May it be so for you and your family and your faith community. That's what we're going to talk about a lot today, is faith community. Community, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it just an ordinary thing? Is it a thing of the earth? Is it a thing of the heavens? Is it on earth as it is in heaven, or is it on earth as it is on earth, and that's just the way it is? Community. When we get together, when we join, when we come together, when we meet, when we assemble, when we congregate, what does it mean? Why do we do it? What is the good side and what is the dark side of community? That's what our discussion will be this week. The parsha is known as khel, and he called together, and he called to community, and he called to an assembly. He called, most of all, the focus of the word is call. The call, the response, the gathering is just a response to the call. If there's no call at the center of gravity of the gathering is a thing only of the earth. Vayakal, and Moshe called, and he called together, he called to assembly, he called all people, and there was a purpose, there was a reason. We'll get into the issues of what the community is for, what this calling is for. It comes from the verb kol, kuf, vav resh, and in Hebrew, this is the word that is the spoken voice. Remember, we're learning the voice of the Creator. If you will shema my voice, he said back at the first few days at Sinai. If you will shema my voice, if you will tune yourself, resonate with, if you will focus your entire life around my voice, my projection of my own will into the world, into the material realm, if you will focus on that, if you will fix yourself around that, if you will devote your energies and your passion and your attention to that, then I will make the earth a garden back unto you. I will make you my Segula. I will make you my snow globe people to display to the rest of the world and the rest of the raging nations as to how people can live together in shalom. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. So this week in Parsha Vayakhel, Exodus 35:1 through 35:20. In this Parsha, I don't know what I said, but 35:1 through 38:20 is the right numbers there. That's our address. In this Parsha Vayakhel, we're going to learn secrets of spiritual synergy. That's my name for it. I try to use language that will catch your ear, and will also communicate a divine message to you that maybe you're not used to hearing. Maybe that it will awaken the neshama, the spirit in you, as opposed to just confirming the existing belief system you have or the doctrinal grid that you possess. That really will awaken something in you. That's my whole purpose. I'm not here to confirm your religious beliefs. I'm not here to argue them, but I'm not here to confirm them either. I'm here to have a sound come into your heart and into your mind and into your spirit that will awaken the eternal, the depth, the deep parts of who you are, the best of who you are, the reason you were put on earth in the first place. So these things we'll learn and discuss in Parsha Vayakhel are secrets of spiritual synergy on earth as it is in heaven, of aligning with the voice, the call of the Creator, of the universe, of returning to resonance with him and his ways, of actually being what we were created to be, his shade, his shadow, his image upon the earth. Now, the secret of the Parsha, the secret of the secrets, is that the Holy One instructed Moshe to make and do all things exactly according to the pattern that was shown to you on the mountain. This phrase, it will be repeated in this parsha several times. Make and do all things exactly according to the pattern that was shown to you on the mountain, Mount Sinai. This is a pattern for us. This is a blueprint for us, for our lives. This is a training ground. Mount Sinai is Camp Sinai because it's our training camp. It is our special forces training camp. It is a place where we do exercises, where we learn lessons, where we exert ourselves, where we have to overcome our individual desires and agendas and mold together as a unit. Spiritual synergy has to take place here. And the key to it is make and do all things exactly according to the pattern that was shown to you on the mountain. Let's get into this a little deeper. Khel is the name of the parsha. The tent maker's dream that we've been talking about. This exercise, one of the biggest exercises we're going to do at Mount Sinai, is going to be to build the tabernacle. Build the tent maker's dream. Oh, the image of a place on earth that corresponds and replicates the courtrooms and the chambers and the throne room of heaven on earth. The tent maker's dream. The Holy One is the great tent maker. He wants us to join us in tent making and make the tent and show everyone on earth what heaven looks like. Show everyone on earth by virtue of our community, of our operation together, by show everybody what it looks like whenever heaven touches earth. And so I call this as a subtitle, Parsha by Khel's discussion. I call the subtitle Scattered Sparks Joining Together. I'll repeat it because I think I kind of stumbled there, but scattered sparks joining together to make it come alive. That's the tent maker's dream. To make the tent maker's dream come alive in real time. Scattered sparks, that's what we all are. All the human beings that are born into this fallen world, that are born in the ages in which we live. Any ethnicity, any culture, any nationality, any region of the earth, we're all born at a time when all we can be is scattered sparks, waiting to find one another, to join together, be drawn together, actually be called together by the call, by the voice of the Holy One, calling us together, scattered sparks, joining together to make the tent maker's dream come alive in real time. So back to the name of our parsha. Are you ready? Vayakhel. Vayakhel means, and he called, and it has using a third person, in this case, Moshe. He, Moshe, called, and the idea of why he called, what the calling was, he didn't just call out in the night, call out to the darkness, call out to the trees, call out to the forest. He called out to people. He called the Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, and the mixed multitude, for that matter, that had followed them out of Egypt. He called, his voice went out, and it was as if I remember his face was shining, as this was after the second time he came back down the mountain. Well, this time carrying the mercies and the kindnesses and the covenant faithfulnesses of the Holy One and the forgiveness of the sins of the golden calf with him. And he came down, and in his shining face he called, and people began to respond. That response was the gathering. That response was the assembly. That response was the congregating part. But what the secret of the story is the calling. We have to respond to a calling. So what was the call? It was the call to come out of where they were, where the people were. You can't go somewhere until you've come out of where you are. I want to repeat that because should be a automatic thought to you. You can't come out. You can't go somewhere unless you come out of where you are. And where were the people of Israel? They were in fear of where they stood with the Holy One after the golden calf. This is an exercise we're doing at Mount Sinai. This is a strategic exercise we're supposed to learn important lessons from as the Torah teaches us. To come out of what? And so everyone had retreated to his own tent with his own family. We were now a group of individual families. We had lost that sense of the community, whatever we might have had, whatever sense of collectivity we might have possessed. We had lost that. We now long, because what had happened was we had gathered without a calling. What if you look at Exodus 32, 1 and following, you see that what happened was the people came together, and without a calling, they came together and they came to Aharon, and they said, "Make us gods to go before us." This is why a collective is not always a wonderful thing. Just to have community for the sake of community is not always good. There is a yetzer hara, an inclination, a direction to the good, and there's a evil, and the yetzer tov, to the good. So it is with the community. There's a community to the evil, and there's a community to the good. There's a community to the tov, and there's a community to the ra. So we've just experienced community to the ra, to the selfish, we want a set of gods before us. We want a structure. We want a community. We want to feel good about being together. We want to feel good about who we are. We want fleshly desires and needs met in community. Oh, you hear it so much today. We have the same problem they had. And they chose to come together without a call from the Creator of the universe. Without His voice speaking to them, without His words directing them or instructing them, they chose to do it their own way, community, man's way. And what you got was the golden calf. And that's not all. You got 3,000 dead, butchered souls on the side of the mountain, on the valley below. You got tragedy and trauma inflicted upon children. You have now fatherless children. You have widowed women, young women. You have mothers bereaved and fathers bereaved. You have disaster because you desired what you wanted when you wanted it, the way you wanted it, and you didn't respond to a call. You responded to an urge, a desire for community, a lust for community. It's just like the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. So that's community done the wrong way. That's community following the Yetzer Hara. That's community following the Yetzer false community. So what do we need to have? Where are we now? We're now at the entrance to our own tents. Every man at the entrance to his own tent, it says in chapter 33 of Exodus. Ish patoch aholo. A man, ish patoch, at the entrance, aholo, his tent. Ish patoch aholo was a standard. And now I think if you look at the world, you see a lot of ish patoch aholo. Even if there are people go to workplaces and they go to marketplaces and they go online and do whatever. But basically every household stands for itself. And there's a spirit of independence and rebellion and not a sense of being called together as a collective. So Ish Patoch Aholo is not just an event that took place, a sequence of events that took place back at Mount Sinai. It is an attitude of fallen man. Each man at the entrance to his own tent. A sense of protectiveness. I'm not going to let my children be exposed. I'm not going to submit myself to some other group of people. I'm not going to share them. I'm going to get boundaries set. I'm going to stand alone. And I may communicate when it's not to my interest, to my best interest. I may commune and I may fellowship with some other people or meet with some people for certain purposes, but basically I'm on my own here. And leave me alone. That is Ish Patoch Aholo. Do you know it? Do you know the spirit of it? Do you know the pain of it? Do you know the fruit of it? It's not good. Now, Ish Patoch Aholo was where everybody was. And then we have the call. Moshe comes down the mountain, his face glowing, forgiveness radiating through his body and the mercies of God, the purposes of and the compassion and the goodness of the Holy One now being manifested even on his own physical features, his countenance. And he comes down and he calls. Now, to that kind of a call, you can surrender. To that kind of a call, you can make a collective. So, the key to coming out from under Ish Patoch Aholo in this independent spirit is we must come in response to his call. And that call would be a call to someone we love, not someone we hate, not against someone we hate. I know a community can be based on the fact that we all hate the same enemy or fear the same thing or people or group, or despise this or that theory or theology or philosophy or scientific principle, well, we can have all sorts of reasons to collect together that are not any reason besides Ishpatokaholo and Yetzer Hara community. We must love the one we come to join together with. We must fear the Holy One, the ones who he loves and loves him. We must learn to live to serve as opposed to live to being served. We must recognize that we are called to be part of something much bigger than ourselves, that unless we join together with the ones we are called to be joined together with, unless we do this, the mission will not be accomplished at its highest level, or it perhaps even at all. We must realize that if we're going to have community the Holy One's way, in response to his call, the kahal, if we're going to do that, then we have to be ready to put aside our personal agendas and our goals and our petty differences and of opinion and our offenses. We have to learn to say we're going to play well with others. We're going to prefer others. We're going to submit our will, not to their will, but to the greater good, to the greater will, and to the greater call. And that's the secret, submitting to the greater call. And let he who called us be the one who molds us together, directs us and guides us to become a synergizing unit that does the will of the Holy One. So this is a Parsha. Parsha Vayikal is the Parsha of reconnecting with our collective calling, of finding a way to do community the Holy One's way. We're going to find that in this Parsha, we have a 5.5-month period, basically, or thereabouts, in which there is no offense. There is no argument. There is no dispute in the camp. There is no sin. There is no deviation. There is no slander. There's no lashon hara. There's no scandal. That 5.5 months we're all unified. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. We have a common calling together. We have a common giving, a common spirit of giving to one another, a common desire to serve our King and make his kingdom come to earth, on earth as it is in heaven. That's what calls us to have this 5.5 months of Garden of Eden on earth. This is a parsha of investing time and effort and passion and our material possessions to make the tent maker's dream a reality. Now, I told you this is an exercise. This is an exercise because we're at a training camp. And so this is sort of like a physics experiment. The building of the tabernacle, which is what we're going to spend 5.5 months doing, co-laboring together, sharing our goods, materials, sharing our energies for the purpose of a project, a particular thing of bringing heaven to earth. We're going to have this exercise here. Remember, we don't have to do the exercise. We learn the principles of the exercise, kind of like in physical science. You don't always have to be doing you don't have to always have to be doing the experiments to remember the principles of the experiments. Mass equals all the things of physical science that you can learn. So the exercise that we do at Mount Sinai, building the tabernacle, is not the end game. The end game is learning why we built the tabernacle and what the tabernacle is supposed to represent and how we can reproduce that in our own lives, families, and yes, our own community entities, our faith communities. I don't like to use certain terms that are very common in religious parlance, and you'll notice that if you listen to me very much. And thank you for doing so, if you do. I try to avoid catchwords, but religious catchwords and buzzwords. Words like church. Words that are English words that didn't come out of the Hebrew and have no relationship to the Hebrew or the text, actually. And all you find is that in English translation, someone picked up this word. Synagogue is somewhat similar. If you wanted to get into outside the realm of Judeo-Christian ethic, you could think about mosque or some other shrine of any variety. I try to take, that is not the collective we're looking for. Those things are man-made, designed, Yetzer Hara community structures. I know that's shocking because we have these ideals We're basically taught from above intellectually without learning anything spiritually. And so I'm going to use the term faith community to not try to limit it to a named entity, a 501c3 organization, a charitable organization of any variety, not a corporation, not a false structure, just the coming together of called human beings to fulfill the will and do the works of the Creator of the universe on the earth, to follow the Messiah in doing so. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about a faith community. When you want somebody else who wants to do the will of God, and you go join with them and do a project, then you're a faith community. If otherwise, you're just a church or a synagogue or a mosque or a shrine or some sort of a false community effort. So, what is the idea? Secrets, I call this secrets of spiritual synergy. Synergy is cooperative interaction that brings about a result more than the individuals could do by themselves. The combined effort brings about a supercharging, an inspiration, an instigation that causes better things to happen when the two things are done, two people come together or more people come together than if they were doing their own separate works. There is a synergy. And so the secret of spiritual synergy, what is it? Let's first of all learn what the opposite of synergy is. It's competition and antagonism. Negative competition means that I'm going to try to sabotage you. I'm going to criticize you. I'm going to condemn you. I'm going to judge you. I'm going to separate myself from you. And therefore, I'm going to try to demean and diminish the value of what you do. I'm going to slander what you do. I'm going to call it foolishness or some odd thing like that, or blasphemy or heresy. I'm going to use these terms because basically I don't want to have synergy with you. I don't want to follow the call. I want to have intellectual pride. And I want to be thought of as intelligent. And I want to be thought of as wise. Behold and beware. This is a big trap for people who claim themselves to be in community. If they're antagonistic and critical and judgmental of other people, there is no way they can ever be trusted to have synergy. They have to come out of that. Come out of that. Come out of that. That's the call. Come out of all that antagonism and destructive, negative criticism and competition, and just do the will of the Holy One and love Him and love the neighbor. So the opposite of synergy is destructive competition and antagonism. It's a phenomenon where when you put two things together, two people together, two groups together, the overall effect is bad. The overall effect is shouting and screaming and hurt feelings and woundedness and offense. And that's what is projected to the world as failure of the kingdom of heaven upon the earth. That's the golden calf ideas. That's where you get it. So, secrets of synergy. What if you're going to have people joining together, working together, doing something on a big project? And of course, the exercise at the bottom of it all for Parsha khel is the building of the tabernacle, furnishing by furnishing, curtain by curtain, a little item by little item that needs to be incorporated into the larger project. So that's the project we're talking about, the exercise we're talking about. But it could apply to any facet of the Holy One's will being done upon the earth. So what are the secrets of the success? What are the secrets of synergy? It's really the key to any successful relationship. It starts with a shared response to a call. If people are just thinking it's a good idea, trying to self-improve, self-help themselves by going into a religious organization or going into a faith-based ministry and trying to build a resume of goodness for the world, they're not responding to a call. They're just acting out of self-interest. So the first thing is a call. The secret of synergy, and the key to every successful relationship is feeling a drawing from the Creator Himself to do something. And secondly, the shared and expressed equally yoked commitment to do the thing the Holy One has called you to do. If you don't share a goal with other people in general, with another person, if you're looking for a romantic relationship or a marriage relationship or a friend relationship or a business relationship, you need to make sure you share a commitment to some particular goal, that you express that commitment in words that they understand and that they follow and they can agree with, that they can come in and say, I'm in with. Shared, expressed, and agreed on, and then equally yoked commitment. You can't be one person 1/10 of the way in and maybe liking the idea but not really willing to commit. You have to, if you're going to have a relationship, marriage, if you're going to have a relationship, a friendship, if you have a relationship, a partnership, or a business enterprise, even an employer, you've got to have a commitment. And if they're not going to be willing to commit, I don't care how talented they are, or how skilled they are, or how well they perform on a standardized test, they're not going to be able to be a partner with you in this project. They're not going to be able to synergize with you, to be energized by you, and you to be energized by them. You're not going to be better as a group than you were as individuals. And that's the idea of synergies, being better when you combine your efforts, when you combine your talents and your abilities, than when you are operating individually as individuals. So, keys to a successful relationship is responding to a call and then sharing and expressing an equally yoked commitment to prioritize the common calling, your purpose, and objective over personal agendas. And then there's a commitment to practice open communication. Communication is such an important part of any relationship, and so it is with the synergy of the call of the Holy. If you're going to have a faith community, just like if you're going to have a marriage, you need to be able to talk to one another. You don't need to have little cliques and groups. You need to be able to have open communication and make sure you're not using double entendre and saying one thing to one group and one thing to another. You're not one thing in one little clique versus one thing in another clique. You're not saying what people want to hear. You're saying what will be necessary to synergize and energize and inspire and empower one another to do the best they can. And then the last part of the secrets of synergy. For faith communities, for marriages, for friendships, for business relationships, for neighbor community projects, is maturity and discipline. You know, everybody has to decide where they are at a given moment. If you're in a childish mood or a mode or a time of your life, you need to look for a mentor, but you don't need to look for a partner. You need to look for someone who is older and more disciplined than you, or at least more mature. Whether they're older or not is not the key. Who's more mature on the thing that you're immature on, emotional immaturity, whatever. You need to find someone to teach you and train you, and then learn disciplines. And then you need, whenever you find someone who is at your level or close to your level that you can actually cooperate with and collaborate with and have synergy with, you need to discipline yourself with regard to speaking language, vocabulary, words that have meaningful definitions that both of you understand. You don't need to start twisting words and using them in ways that you can manipulate people. Language that manipulates is not synergy. Language that manipulates is witchcraft. So, second thing is maturity and discipline in balancing individual versus shared needs. Look, we all are individuals. We all need to eat. We all need to drink. We all need to feel good about something about life. We need to overcome our urges, our depression, our distraction matrices. We need to do all these sorts of things, but we also need to be able to balance our individual needs versus the shared community needs. And if we can't do that, then we're not fit for community, and we're not going to be successful at community. We're not going to be a Yetzer Tov community. To the good community, we're going to be one of those golden calf communities, because we're all focusing more upon our individual needs and what we like and what we don't like. The color carpet we want and the color carpet we don't like, and the who does what at what time plan. We don't like the way they do that. We don't like the way the music sounds. We don't like, if that's our focus, we are not ready for community, faith community. We're ready for golden calf community, and that's all. So we have to learn to balance and be mature in our balance between individual and shared needs, and discipline our individual needs for the greater good. We also need to learn how to participate and give of ourselves, and yet not be allow ourselves to be taken advantage of. To responsibly, maturely share division of labor and responsibility, and load handling. How the load of the community, of the activities, are being handled. We cannot let one person do it all. That's not community. That's authority. That's oligarchy. That's something. That's monarchy, but it's not community. Community is a co-laboring, call together, to co-labor, to work together, to synergize together, to bring out the best in each other, not follow a set of rules and commands. So a division of labor and responsibility of load management. And then as part of the process of maturity and discipline, if we're going to have a successful community, we're going to have secrets of synergy operational and relationships that work, we have to have individuals who are willing to manage responsibly their own emotions, not let their emotions control a situation, not let their hormones and hormone releases, which happen. People get together and adrenaline's released, or oxytocin's released, or any of the hormones are released and now they got to learn how not to respond to the hormone, not to respond to the emotion, not to respond to the attraction or the revulsion influx reflex, not to be distracted easily. Learn how to focus. This is maturity and discipline, and for there to be a successful relationship, for there to be a good community, there must be people willing to submit their emotions, hormones, attractions, distractions, matrices, all that to the greater good. And then finally, perhaps not finally, but the last one I'll mention, necessary for secrets of synergy and successful relationship, is to have conflict resolution procedures that are resolution focused, not punishment focused. If we're trying to punish the guilty, that's what we want to do. If we want to get retribution for the wrongs that have been done, if we want to make people pay for what they've done wrong to us, then we're on the wrong game. We're in the wrong game. We're not into the community game, the faith community game. We're not into the calling, responding to a calling. We're just using procedures for our own benefit, using power structures to hurt other people, do harm as opposed to do good. Resolution-focused conflict resolution procedures. The idea of how are we going to move forward from here? This is what we have. We can't go back and change it. But where can we go from here to find together, for the sake of the community and the community project we've been called to operate? How can we move forward from here? That's the key to having a successful relationship. That's the key to deciding whether people will be better together in community or whether they would be better apart in independence and ish patok aholo. It depends whether it's a good thing to be together or a bad thing to be together. It depends on who the people are that we're talking about and where they are at this particular place and time in their life, where they are on the maturity level, where they are on the socialization level. And it also depends on why and to what end the people are wanting to come together in the first place. If they just want a platform for which to speak their piece, to say expound their doctrine, their arguments, their dogma, if that's what they want, if they just want a place to rule and control be a big fish in a small pond, if that's what they want, then you're not going to have a community. You're going to have a very manipulative organization, and you're not going to produce much. It's not going to have a fruitfulness to it. Not going to have the fruit of the Spirit to it, because it's not based on a call of the Spirit. It's based upon the urge of the flesh. So, who and what end and what vision, and pursuant to what vision and pursuant to what call people come together determines how successful their community will be. And the other question is, how will people respond to one another? This is perhaps the most important part of whether a community thrives or whether a community falters. How do the people respond to each other and to challenges that happen in their lives? Do they respond? There's three ways you can respond to the challenges or to each other or to offenses that arise or to things that we disagree with. One is in the flesh, the basar methodology. That's the way animals do it. You make a noise, the animal will run. You stand up real tall and wave your arms, and perhaps maybe even a large animal will run away from you in fear. But if you don't act in the flesh, you have to act. How else? There's two other ways you could act. One, you could act primarily not in the flesh, but in the nefesh, in the mind, the pseudo-intellect, the will, and the emotions. You can act in a way that's above the flesh, And it's like, this is you're trying to manipulate them to do something else, or you're trying to control the situation. This is acting on the nefesh, in the mind, will, and emotions. This is where people argue over theology and philosophy, ideology and politics. And this is where they respond to each other in the nefesh, in the mind, pseudo-intellect, will, and emotions. And if you do that, you won't have a successful community for very long. You'll find reasons to dislike each other, to hate each other, to divide from each other, to polarize, and you'll have a collapsed community in a New York minute. So, in the flesh, like animals, in the nefesh, in the mind, will, and emotions, like Greeks, or philosophers who can't ever get along with each other, or the third way you can respond to one another and to challenges. And that's according to the call in the neshama, in the spirit, the God breathed spirit within you, letting the spiritual things control the goal, the plan, the idea, the heart of the Spirit of God, the will of the Spirit of God moving in you. If you respond according to that, if you submit the flesh and submit the mind and the false vain imaginations and the offenses, all to the Spirit will unify and bring about the result for the purpose of the community. So, can we dare to do community the Holy One's way? Can we reproduce, at least at some level, for certain periods of time? Can we, even for a few moments, reproduce what our forefathers accomplished at Sinai? Putting aside all offenses, putting aside all differences, prioritizing the plan and the will of God, following the blueprint exactly according to the way it was shown to Moshe on the mountain, building the things he told us to build, only that and nothing else. Energizing and empowering and inspiring each other by virtue of our operations, creativity in the Spirit of God, not trying to control each other. Well, we've already tried it our way in Exodus 32:1 with the golden calf, and we're still nursing the deep wounds that were inflicted on it, ourselves and each other during our epic fail at establishing faith community our way. But we're finally now ready to be secure again in our relationship with the Holy One. We are, aren't we? We're ready to do away, forgive the sins of the past, both against us and of us. Are we ready to move on? If we are, then we need to tear down the walls. We don't want to get hurt by community again, the way we were at the Golden Calf, or the way we've done it so many different places in our lives, the Golden Calf experiences we've had so far in our lives. We don't want to get hurt again. We don't want to let down our guard. We don't want the vulnerability, but we have a higher calling that calls us to do so. The khel. But what will it cost us? If we khel, how will we have to surrender? What personal agendas, what personal dreams, what personal interests will we have to subordinate to the greater call? But a better question than what will it cost us if we do it is what will it cost us if we don't? What will it cost us if we don't do this community God's way? What will it cost our children and our families and our bloodlines? What will it cost the families of the raging nations around us? What will it cost our neighborhoods? What will it cost our cities? What will it cost the ecosystem of earth if we do not do what the Creator is calling us to do, to come out of our tents, to come out of our private little chambers of self-interest and join together and work together for the common good of the kingdom? What is the purpose of the higher call? Why is he calling us out at this stage in time? Wouldn't we rather just stay hunkered down and bunkered? Why come out? What is the objective? Because it is through the kahaling, it is through responding to the call that we become what we were created to be. We were created to be witnesses out there in the public, operating together, jointly testifying to the goodness of the Holy One. Kahal refers to the gathering process. It is so connected to the word edah, to testify, to be the witness. We are his witnesses. We can't be witnesses alone. We must be witnesses of a greater. It takes 2 or 3 witnesses, right, to establish anything. We must do these things together. Edah, the work done collectively by those who gather. Kahal is together. edah is to work, the thing we do when we get together. So what is the khel all about, the parsha? 35:1 through 38:20 of Exodus. It's about a simple project of exercise of garnering and constructing the various component parts of the tabernacle. It's just an exercise. Well, it's more than that. I'll grant you. There is a spiritual implication to it that applies whether there's a physical tabernacle on earth or not. But the basic exercise is to garner and construct the various component parts of the tabernacle, and do so as a community, not individually trying to do it ourselves, not doing it our way, but doing it His way. Garnering and constructing the various component parts of the tabernacle, all according to the pattern, the blueprint that's been set for us, shown to us on the mountain. So, item number 1 on the agenda for Parsha khel is doing community His way. What would it look like if we did it His way? The 4.5 to 5.5 blessed months of Sinai, when we were actually working together, contributing each one what he could contribute to the greater project, following the will and the ways and the instructions of the Holy One to the letter. That's what community could be done His way. That's faith community His way. If we could do that again and lay aside our theological and our halakhic differences, the way we orthodoxy differences. We could do it His way, and we will. The second major element of the khel travelogue is learning that at the center of it is how we treat the Sabbath. The Sabbath is a very important thing to the creative universe. It's for man, but he knows that this is like a litmus test. The Sabbath is the test, the first test of man. Will you be able to stop what you're doing and reconnect with your essential purpose, and reconnect with the kingdom, reconnect with the Heavenly Father, reconnect with the holiness and the kedusha of the heavenly realm? Will you be able to do that, or are you so engrossed in your daily activities and your fleshly urges and appetites and your pseudo-intellectual pursuits and your sense of power and importance in the world that you can't let go? Are you trapped? Are you bound up? Or can you be released on the Sabbath day? The critical importance of the Sabbath is talked about in chapter 35, verses 2 through 3, and I'll let you read that on your own time. And then the next thing is, whenever you're called to contribute, coming out means giving up something. Surrendering it, something for the sake of the greater good, not just giving up something for the sake of giving it up. Like I think the practice of Lent is just to give something up. The idea is we're giving something that means something to somebody. We're giving something that will be contributed to the greater project and plan. So the calling of the giving is to give the gold and the silver and the bronze and the red and the blue and the purple dye and the linen cloth and the shittim wood, the wood that made the ark out of. That we're called to bring these things together, and the stones, the onyx stones and the precious stones for the different parts of the priestly garments and for the ephod. To bring forth all these things, and the oil and the spices for the oil and for the incense. We're supposed to bring all these things, and not just whatever we want to give, whatever we feel like we can do it without. No, we give for the sake of a vision that we have to put it together. The Teruma protocol. Teruma, lift ourselves up by contributing something that means something to the greater plan. And then the fourth part of the khel travelogue or discussion we'll have is the discussion of the fact that God is going to give us anointed craftsmen. He is going to give us a picture. Every picture tells a story, and every part of the Torah's instruction manual here for this exercise is going to tell us something very important. He's always going to fill a few people with his spirit of wisdom and understanding, spirit of craftsmanship and skill in handling all sorts of different situations and circumstances. That he's going to do that. Bezalel and Oholiab are the two individuals he's using as a model, as an example. This is always what he will do. If we will build faith community his way, he will always give his own spirit to a few of us among the group that will be able to guide, inspire, encourage, and be a model too, and mentors for the others in the group. And finally, the fifth part of the via khel travel on is going to be actually physically doing the work and getting our hands dirty, or rolling up our sleeves, getting involved with the actual work of the kingdom, not talking about stuff, not discussing and debating doctrines or theorizing about events, but actually getting our hands involved in the process of building the thing the Holy One wants to build upon the earth. What does he want to build? What does he want to build in our day? What does he want? Because he wants us to be his witnesses. He wants us as a group to be his witnesses. What would it look like if we built what he wants now? What will be the best example of his kingdom coming to life in real people through faith community? What can we build? Is it more buildings with steeples, or with stars of David, or with some other symbol or image on them? You believe what you want to believe, but I'm not going to encourage you to do that. What does he want? He wants individuals that are surrendered to community values, particularly the kingdom's values. He wants families that overcome their challenges with each other for the sake of the covenant and the community. For the sake of the king, he wants those who exhibit joy and hope and the fruit of the Spirit, and kindness and gentleness and goodness and faithfulness and self-control. That's what he wants. That's the testimony he wants to give. Well, here we are at Mount Sinai. Here we are in our own tents. Here we are in our own little communities gone to Ra. And he says, let's come out. Come out, my beloved. Come out and follow the will and the ways of the Holy One. You can do this. This is part of the plan. Are you ready? Are you interested? Are you hungry? Then let's do this thing together. Shabbat Shalom, beloved. Have a good time discussing all this with your friends in your faith community.